this is Editing KJ with a quick note that this episode was recorded before the WGA strike and the SAG-AFTRA strikes were resolved, and in some cases possibly before the strikes began. We're super happy to be back, so please enjoy this episode. My name is KJ, and you're listening to the Supernatural Opinions podcast, where some things in this world are supernatural. My pronouns are she, they, and this is the podcast where I talk to my fellow Supernatural fans about Supernatural, and we share our Supernatural opinions. This week, we're taking a look back on the season we just finished, Season 3. Reminder that discussion episodes are open to all seasons and episodes, and this may contain spoilers for episodes, including and beyond this season, and we'll probably be discussing, at the very least, some Season 4 stuff that we're looking forward to, and some Season 4 wishes based on some of the listener questions. So let's get into it. Today I'm being joined by my most consistent and patient guest, Meredith, who has put up with me for 3 entire seasons of this podcast.
It's fine, you put up with me.
Yeah, remind everyone who you are.
My name is Meredith, my pronouns are she and her, and I don't really have any extra snappy thing to say this time. But
It's okay, you can take a week off.
Yes.
And I feel like I need to offer you at the end of every season like an out, just to assure both you and our listeners that I'm not holding you here against your will.
If I really wanted to be gone, I would be.
But I'm glad that you're sticking it out for another season.
Oh, this is fun.
Yeah, we're looking forward to Season 4, I think.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. There's some fun stuff coming in Season 4.
Exactly. We're gonna get started with our stats, just get all these numbers out of the way early in the show while I still have everyone's attention, and then get to some less numbery stuff later. So if you're not here for the numbers, which I think people enjoy my numbers, but if you're not here for the numbers, just skip past them.
I think the numbers are fun. They really put things in perspective.
This season we had my very first 10 out of 10 episode. Mystery Spot was the first episode so far to be ranked 10 out of 10 on my personal rating scale. My lowest rating episode this season, on a whopping 3 out of 10, was Bedtime Stories. I'm not going to list off all my ratings this season like I've done on the last 2 reflections, because I've started giving them in each recap episode, but my overall average for this season was 7.13. Does make it the lowest rated season so far, but only by like 0.12 out of 10. So I wouldn't worry too much for Season 3. And again, these are my personal ratings. Other people may feel differently and feel like Season 3 is a really great season. It's better than 1 and 2. I feel like it's so far the lowest rated season. But again, it had my most liked episode so far, so.
I felt like they did the best they could with what they had, considering everything that was going on.
Yeah. Total on-screen deaths is at 266, and on and off-screen deaths is at 1,880 plus, up from 201 and 1,351 plus at the end of last season. So we've gone up quite a bit. We passed the Bechdel test 3 out of 16 episodes, which is 18.75% of the season. Passed the Bechdel test.
Is that lower? Is that lower than the last 2 seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 13 fails for the season. So season 1 had 5 passes, 17 fails. Season 2 had 7 passes and 15 fails. So far, out of the 60 episodes that we've watched Supernatural so far, 15 of 60 have passed 25%, and 45 out of 60, 75% have failed.
See, I know it's going to get better, but I'm not sure how much better.
This season had 2 female, recurring characters. We had Bella and Ruby, so statistically our chances should have gone significantly up, and they just didn't.
Bella and Ruby should have met.
And we had 2 types of soul transactions this season. We learned that you could sell your soul to kill your abusive parents, which is our pretty typical demon deal, sell your soul, you get 10 years. We also learned that you can sell your soul in order to do witchcraft, which the witches in this season did poorly. They made bad decisions with their newfound power, but it is possible, and I feel like that is what I would be more likely to do in the grand scheme of things.
Right? I feel like it's a better deal than just getting 10 years. Because if you sell your soul to be a witch, you could deal with that thing that you originally wanted to to deal with and not die after 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and your life could be significantly extended.
Oh, yes. Not to criticize some of the people who made the 10-year deal, because as we've discussed, Bella was a minor and desperate.
Mm-hmm. Dean Winchester couldn't get a 10-year deal, so...
Yeah.
Let's talk brain injuries. This was a good season for Sam's noggin. Like, really good. He only got knocked out 2 episodes this season. Once in 303 and once in 314. So he also had plenty of time in between those to recover.
Wow.
2 out of 16 is really good. Halved his knockouts from season 2, which had more episodes overall.
I'm really proud of him.
Yeah, I still haven't gone back to season 1 to fill in what head injuries, but 2 out of 16 it's a good season for Sam.
At least someone's having fun this season. Not fun, but physically.
Not getting physically brain damaged.
Yeah, no, just run-of-the-mill PTSD.
I love this last stat because it's the most math, but let's figure out who this season's MVP is. MVP is out of 62 this season. We had 62 votes for MVP. Sam had 18, Jean had 10, Bobby had 8, Ruby had 5, Ben had 5, Corbett had 3.5, Bella had 2, Rufus had 1.5, and with 1 each we had Tamara from 301, the Biggersons host from Bad Day at Black Rock, Hunter Ritchie from Sin City, Dr. Garrison from Bedtime Stories, the Good Ghost Brother from the Ghost Ship episode, the Trickster Hendrickson, Nancy the Virgin from the police station, and the Hellhounds for doing such a good job.
Aw, they're such good boys.
Yeah.
Why do we call her Nancy the Virgin? You've heard of Jane the Virgin. This is Nancy.
Yeah, I don't think Nancy had a last name, and I had to give her an extra name so that I remember 4 seasons from now who the fuck Nancy is.
Right? It's not a name that stands out.
Yeah. It's I also had to distinguish Hunter Ritchie because Richie the toddler is already on the list from season 1.
I guess we just really like Richies.
Yeah, and they're enjoyable. So our total MVPs out of 204.5, I have no idea how we got a 0.5 vote past the first 2 seasons. That seems statistically incorrect, but
whatever.
It's what I had on season 2 reflection. So the 3 seasons combined. Sam so far much in the lead for MVP overall with 72.5. I feel like this may shift in the coming 2 seasons. I feel like Sam, to be fair, in this season, Sam had a lot to do MVP-wise, whereas Dean was actively trying to die every other episode.
And season 4.
However, season 4, maybe some changes coming in the dynamics of who is doing what. So
we might criticize Sam a little more.
Yeah, Sam's in the lead so far with 72.5 out of 204, which is 35.4%. So he's not got a massive lead because Dean is sitting at 50 with 24.45%. Next to Bobby with 14, Joe with 6, Ruby at 5, Ben at 5, Andy at 3.5, Corbett at 3.5, Ghost Claire and Sarah Blake at 3 each, Ava at 2.5, Mary Winchester at 2, Bella at 2, Lenora at 2, Charlie the teenager from Bloody Mary is at 1.5, as is lawyer Mara Daniels, F1's favorite lawyer, Michael the kid from the motel, and Rufus, a new character we met this season.
I can tell the numbers for Rufus and Bobby are definitely going to go up significantly.
Yeah, we thought Bobby was going to go up pretty significantly this season, and he did more than double his overall points since the previous 2 seasons. He did more than double his overall votes, but I honestly thought Bobby would go up more this season than he did.
Don't know what to tell you. Also, I am blanking on who Corbett is, and I feel really bad. Oh,
Corbett's
wait, I remember.
Dead Ghostfacer.
I remember him now. I remembered him while I was speaking. I'm sorry, Corbett.
To run through our one-off MVPs, we have Richie the Toddler, the Car Dog, Unnamed Reaper, Unnamed Black Man, Cassie Robinson, Officer Kathleen, the lady who called Sam out for spying on undressed girl/demon, Azazel, Detective Diana, George Darrow, Dr. Lee, Master Sergeant Mark, Ronald, Father Reynolds, Ellen, Tamara, the Biggersons host, Hunter Ritchie, Dr. Garrison, the Good Ghost Brother, Trickster, Hendrickson, Virgin Nancy, the Hellhounds, and with 0.5 each, not forgotten, Jerry Panowski and the Excited Librarian.
Okay, I remember both of them, and yeah, I see why.
We love people who love their jobs.
We do. We don't have enough of those in the world.
Now, let's just move on from numbers and math before my brain explodes. And let's do some listener reflection questions. You can submit reflection questions 3 ways through the Google form in our link tree, on our Twitter page the week of recording the Reflection episode, we'll do a post or two about it, or on our Discord server. KJ usually asks for input on every episode from the Discord, so it's definitely the best place to be involved in the podcast, because I'll ask for questions from listeners every week, and the link is in the episode description and in our link tree, so you can find both those things here.
And the Discord is fun. We share artwork, we talk about our lives and Supernatural, obviously.
Yeah, we hang out, we talk about the show, we talk about what the weather's like everywhere, and I usually talk about how editing is going. We just hang out, we hang.
It's fun.
So our first question is from Sandra at SKyleWrites on Twitter, who's the co-host of Idling in the Impala, and she asks, Bella intrigues me more every time I rewatch it. Due to the writer's strike, they had to hurry up and tie up her storyline along with everyone else's. What did you think the creator's intentions might have been with her? Would she have returned in season 4? Meredith, do you have thoughts?
I don't know. I feel like if they were planning on bringing her back in season 4, then they probably wouldn't have killed her off.
I agree.
So I hope that she would have appeared in more episodes, and maybe we would have gotten some more like foreshadowing or development on her demon deal, and maybe we would have tried harder to get out of it.
Yeah, it would have been some motivation for the Winchesters to actually help her.
Yeah. So maybe her ending would have been like less sudden and less of like a cutoff. Yeah,
we had a whole episode that we did about Bella. Obviously that hasn't come out yet at the time of recording this episode, so we've talked a lot about Bella actually, but I think it would have been really interesting to have her in season 4. I do think she could have played a really fun role in season 4 and like beyond if she hadn't been killed off. I think she would have been a great asset for researching and finding the boys' obscure artifact that they need, giving them heads up on cases, stuff like that. I would have loved to also have her back as a demon in later seasons, even if they had killed her off. But even, like, the network and the writers had a plan for her. I think she would have been, like, an antagonist for a while and then come to be someone that the Winchesters kind of begrudgingly are friends with.
I think they didn't appreciate, like, how interesting she was and how much potential she had for stories.
I think that the mistake that they made was going in on, like, a love interest angle with both Winchesters, honestly. Like, they really tried to push that with both of them. And I think the mistake was doing it for either one of them. I think Bella was a great character, totally separate from any romantic interactions with them, and I think the romantic interactions are the thing that got Bella killed because fans didn't like it. It wasn't well received by them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, if I think the answer wasn't to kill her off, it was to just make her like a colleague or an ally.
And like we already seen this play out with Joe. Like we already knew how that was gonna go. We'd already seen how fans reacted to that, like love interest queue up for Dean.
It's a weird reaction, but it's one that we have come to expect.
Yeah, I feel like they should have absolutely predicted that being the case. And like Bella was a requested addition by the network, not necessarily by the original like creative team. Like, it's not like Bella was a character like Kripke really wanted to have or anything. The network requested a second female like regular for the season,
and we're kind of grateful.
Yeah, we are grateful because we love Bella, but
right?
I can see them not having, also on the other end, like not having a real plan for her. And then like once fans didn't enjoy her a whole lot, I can see why we didn't keep her around. I can see them not being the most attached to her for sure.
Yeah, I think it took me a little while to warm up to her. I definitely never celebrated her being killed off, but yeah, it did take me a while to realize how interesting she was.
Yeah, what we'd lost.
Yes, lost all that potential, and she brought something very different to the series that we have already discussed, but it bears repeating.
I think the Winchesters really have overlooked an opportunity in making money doing what they do.
Yeah.
I get they're just very good people. They do this out of the goodness of their hearts and a little bit of need for revenge. But,
I wouldn't go so far as to say they're really, really good people.
Exactly. But, that's how they have to be presented as. And asking for payment at the end of a case just really doesn't vibe with that image of what they do. So, I do think that they and the writers, as an extension of the characters, are so judgmental of any character that makes a profit off of anything supernatural related.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like the Winchesters have a different moral code from Bella's, but it's not necessarily superior in some ways.
They're just mad that they don't make money doing what they do, and she makes money. She makes a lot of money. She's really good at her job.
Oh yeah, we support it. Love to see her winning. disappointing.
But she was a real highlight of the season. It is disappointing that she is a one-season character. She's, like, pretty much the only one-season character who's, like, a recurring character like this. You could argue, like, Ruby is two different characters, and Meg is two different characters because they're played by different actresses. But yeah, like Bella just really is not. She's never really brought up again after this season. She's really just gone. She's a single-season character.
Too bad.
It's too bad. Our next question, I'm not sure if it was from Chris or Dan, but it's from one of the Back on the Hunt podcast hosts, also asked over Twitter. How would the show have been remembered if season 4 was never picked up? Reportedly, Dean was meant to beat Lilith initially, but Kripke sent him to hell after news of the writer's strike. If season 3 was the last season,
and it ended the way it did,
yes,
I think people would have been really mad.
I just don't think people would care. Like, I don't think we would. I mean, we absolutely would not be here because the show would have ended when we were in like elementary school, and we just wouldn't even have really heard of it probably. But I just don't think, like, we've recapped 60 episodes, and some of them were really good 10 out of 10 episodes. Others were really bad 1 out of 10 episodes.
But like a lot of the characters that make this show so memorable either weren't really developed or weren't introduced yet.
Exactly.
Like Bobby and Cass.
These, like, we're 60 episodes in, but they're like the first 60 episodes, and they've barely scratched the surface of what Supernatural can do and went on to do. Even the thing that these three seasons are like the Sam and Dean in the car on the road, original Vision of Eric Kripke seasons, before Angels, before Cass, before anything. Like, it's just mostly Sam and Dean against the world, and like that is what these seasons are known for. But I think even that gets so much better over time.
Yeah.
Is elevated by things that happen in the later seasons.
Like, we have really interesting plots and moments in these 3 seasons, and they're definitely not bad, but like, yeah, a lot of the things that make this show memorable just weren't there.
Yeah, and I honestly, I don't even think season 3 is like a fair place to like pause at the end of this show. We already have planned on the books at the end of season 5 an episode of like, should you stop watching at season 5 when the Kripke era ends, when the original vision of the show has been realized, versus like, should you watch all 15 seasons? But yeah, I think season 3, just these 3 seasons, I don't think it would be enough for anyone to like really be. People probably would have cared a little bit at the time, but like, I guess I'm so used to every show I like being canceled after a few seasons that for me, I'm like, if this show got canceled at season 3, I would have watched it once and gone on with my life like a normal human being.
I would have had like a bit of rage over not knowing what happened, like I have with like some of the shows I like, but I would have moved on. Exactly.
Yeah, I would have. This would be a Grey's Anatomy podcast as originally did.
I probably wouldn't be participating.
Yes.
I've never watched Grey's Anatomy.
Yes, I'd be doing this with someone else, somewhere else, living a different life.
Oh, goodness.
But yeah, I love this whole show. I love the early seasons, but I also love so many characters in the later seasons. So I'm really glad that this like wasn't the end. We'll discuss more of like how this season ended after some of these other questions. Over to the Discord, we have a question from Ella, who is the co-host of the Cast, who wants to know what we would have done if we were writing a season and we didn't have a shorter season. Meredith, would you have made any changes to this season? Because I'm actually a big fan of the 16 episode season. Of course, I want more Supernatural. I always want more Supernatural. But like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there are like specific episodes that I would have changed, like not the overall plot.
The overall. I'm not here for like Monster of the Week episodes. I'm here for like big feels and the overall story. So, in deference to our friend Elena, President Season 3 Defender, I will agree this season is very like focused on that for the most part. The focus is on the overall plot. We don't have a lot of extra spare episodes for them to just go off and kill a random monster. And I am a fan of less of that, to be honest. I'm all for killing monsters, but I like them to be thematically appropriate to whatever else is going on.
Oh, well, actually, I think the only thing I would have changed is what we already discussed, was keeping Bella alive.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I would have absolutely had less of them arguing about the deal. I think that was so repetitive over 16 episodes. I wish I'd been keeping a tally of how many of out of those 16 episodes they had that at least a conversation about it, and not just like a conversation, but like a fight about it. And like it was. I get that you gotta like audience engaged in the overall story, but like I was so sick of hearing them fight about it every single episode. It wasn't adding anything after a couple of episodes.
Yeah, they could have handled it differently, like made references to argument or like had like a couple sentences here and there.
Yeah, I think if these episodes were the episodes and then like if the intention was to sprinkle in like 6 additional episodes that were like Monster of the Week episodes more than these ones, maybe they would be spread out a little bit more, the arguing. But because those other 6 episodes don't exist, it was very much like every episode we have to have a fight about this. I also probably would have kept Bella. I probably would have gone a little bit harder on Crazy Sam. As much as like Bedtime Stories was my least liked episode of the season, that end scene with Sam and the crossroad demons where he shoots her in the head, that's my favorite Sam. That's my guy.
Yes, Crazy Sam is just so appealing to me. It's more appealing to me than Crazy Dean because like it's easier to picture Crazy.
Yeah, Sam, like when he gets that like little crazy glint in his eye and like you just know there's no changing his mind, like I don't know, there's something about that I just very enjoy.
Yeah, it's
Fresh Blood where he killed Gordon with his bare hands, like that's intense shit and I like it.
It's a bigger departure from what we're used to seeing and expecting from Sam, and I think because of that, like it has a bigger impact and it's interesting to see.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the end of the season a little bit. I think looking back now, knowing what Supernatural has become, I absolutely would send Dean to hell at the end of this season. I wouldn't change that because it changed Supernatural forever. It set Supernatural on the path for Cass to exist, for like the angels as we know them. It also like it fundamentally changed Dean as a character. The experience of going to hell changed Dean as a character, obviously. And I just don't think, I think even if we introduce Cass in another way, I think the profound bond of Cass pulling Dean's soul from hell lent a certain amount of trust in their relationship from the beginning that I don't think we would have had. And I just don't think that like the story of Dean and Cass and Sam like would have played out the way that it did over the next 12 seasons without that being the foundation. So I wouldn't want to lose that. But there is kind of like the story that the Back on the Hunt question alluded to of like Dean and Sam were supposed to save Dean from going to hell at the end of the season. And then they like didn't have the time to make that work. So they're just like, oh, we'll put Dean can go to hell and we'll figure it out next season.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to end the season, honestly, because it's a loss for the characters, and narratively that's really interesting to watch, and it might keep the audience members coming back for the next season to see how it turns out.
As much as like I would maybe consider John dying to be a loss for the boys, not a loss for me.
Yeah, in this case, like it is a loss for the audience, and like with John dying, it was like I guess we kind of felt for them, but like not for us.
But the first time in a series that like a big bad is not overcome is always so impactful.
And I think the ending we eventually got for Lilith was more interesting than beating her at the end
more
of the
interesting.
Season. Yeah.
Meredith's read these books as well, but these books, the Pendragon books, they're one of the first book series. There's 10 books in the series. I want to say book 4 or 5. Spoiler alert, if planning on reading them. Book 4 or 5 is the first time that they don't beat the villain at the end of the book, and like the stage of the universe is lost, and like it's a real moment. And I honestly couldn't remember reading a series like that growing up where like there was a big loss at the end before that, and like I just remember like the impact that had on me and that had on the characters' development to just like suffer a loss at the hands of a villain.
Yeah, it makes you, I remember that part, and I remember these books, and you know, it makes you take the villain seriously and actually think like this.
Yeah, the good guys don't always win at the end. Like
this is a real threat, and we need to get better at dealing with it because obviously we weren't good enough.
Yeah, like so many books I read, you know, I just grew up reading YA books, like they get out of it at the end. Like as much as like a series of unfortunate events is like a story of a story of unfortunate events, at the end of each book they do get away from whatever horrible guardian situation they've been put into and are moved on to the next one, which is equally horrible, but it's still a win because they're out of the situation that they were in before.
Yeah, you learn to have confidence in the main characters and in the plot, and you think like we're in this situation now, but we're definitely getting out of it. But if you have one ending where they don't get out of it, then you keep the readers guessing, and they lose that confidence, but in a good way.
Yeah, like Dean almost died, and then John died to save him, and Dean was fine. Sam died for 3 days, but then Dean saved him. And then Dean died a whole bunch of times in Mystery Spot, but Sam saved him 100. I mean, Sam didn't really save him, but at the end of the 100th death, Sam saved him on the final death. He made sure that Dean was okay. And then this time, Dean's dead. He's gone. He's in hell, and Sam's devastated. devastated, and we're devastated, but like it is like the first time they've like really truly lost, and I think that's important for both their characters. Like it's important that Jean goes through this hell experience. It's also important for Sam that he goes through this loss experience.
Mm-hmm. It's important that it's happening at the end of a season, because this is like the moment we're building up to. It's supposed to be a moment of victory, and it's not.
Yeah, so I have always been intrigued by the idea of like how Sam saving Dean, getting Dean out of his deal, like would have played out, but at the end of the day, I just don't think Supernatural would have been what it was without this moment.
Yeah, it's not a happy moment, but like it's an important moment, and it doesn't have to be a happy moment. Honestly, it's a story.
Also, from our Discord, a very similar question from Nick: do you think they could have found a better way to handle Dean's deal, or do you like the way that they handled it in season 3? I think that they could have handled it differently. Absolutely, it had some other ideas of things to do, but I think episode 16 is like a great hour of television. Like that is one of the few episodes of season 3 I will go back and rewatch is the finale, because it's really good. It's very well done. I do think that there was some things along the way of handling Dean's deal that I didn't like. For example, the arguing. I think there was a few episodes that were a bit of a miss, but overall, yeah, I don't think that I would have handled it super differently, to be honest.
Yeah, we've just discussed how like we liked that they sent him to hell.
Yeah. Let's say one like good thing that we really liked about season 3. Let's do a highlight on season 3.
One good thing that we really liked.
Yeah.
Well, she's on my mind right now.
I think Sam shooting the demon with the Colt might be a highlight for me.
Pretty metal.
It's really good. Just like the way it's shot is really well done too. I think like we just really linger on Sam for a lot of that. Like there's a lot of long shots on Sam's face as he like he's in this whole standoff, and she's like, well, you might as well kill me because I can't do anything, thinking Sam's not going to do it because he's not that stupid or that desperate, but he is both that stupid and that desperate, and he also does not give a fuck. Like, ooh. I like Sam when he has like not much to lose.
It's fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Without giving too many spoilers, what's something you're looking forward to covering in season 4? I think I'm looking forward to like a grittier version of Sam than we've had, even more than season 3 in some ways.
Okay. To start, one thing I'm looking forward to is Cass. Been looking forward to him for a while.
Of course, we are excited about Cass.
Obviously. And there's probably some specific monsters that I'm excited to do research on, and I will have them in a moment here. Alright, documents loading because it hates me.
I have an announcement about my document situation at the end of this.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, we meet the grandparents, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have our first time travel episode.
Oh, wait, one thing I'm excited about is the monster movie episode. Like, it's not my favorite episode, but like, I want to look into all the movies they're referencing. I think that'll be really fun.
Yes, that will be really fun. Do I have any specific episodes I'm looking forward to? I don't think I do. I think I'm really looking forward to all of them, to be honest. Meredith, I think you're not looking forward to next season?
Let's see. Still going through the list. I gotta say, I am both looking forward to and not looking forward to researching Angels. Because there is so much to cover when you're researching Angel.
Yeah. My advice is going to be stick to Angels that we're specifically meeting.
Yep.
Stick to, like, stuff that's, like, relevant to the episode, because...
Try to get some broad strokes, for, like, 2,000 years of Christendom.
That's maybe. A lot, yeah.
Also, that's not even counting 2,000 years of Judaism.
Speaking of Cass, here's some things that are new this season coming up. We have 2 new cast-related segments and stats that I'm going to be keeping.
Oh, really?
Our first is solo cast interactions, which is basically a tally of how often Sam and Cass are alone versus how often Dean and Cass are alone. I think we all know what the outcome will be, but I do want to have a full breakdown by season of the exact numbers of how big the disparity is.
It's going to be staggering.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be quite a lot. Our other segment is Cass's powers. What can Cass do? What can Cass not do? What is the explanation for why he can or cannot do it?
Ooh,
because
that's a
Cass's
good one.
powers are a little on the inconsistent side. Very inconsistent across the board. So let's keep track. Kind of like a little lost lore box.
But keeping track of Cass's powers is kind of like watching Bewitched.
There's a certain amount of we just gotta roll with it. This is the thing that Cass can do today.
Yep.
But I just think it'll be fun to keep track of what he can do.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
We have a new segment inspired by a friend of the show and our friend Moira, who is currently watching Supernatural for the first time. She's on season 13. When we were watching season 9 and 10 a few weeks ago, we noticed a trend, and I promised I would put it in the show. So our new segment is Eyes Off the Hostages, which is where someone in a hostage situation usually is tied to a chair, and when the hostager takes their eyes off the hostagee makes an escape / unties themselves from the chair. It happens pretty much every time someone's tied to a chair. It is shocking how often they just walk out of the room to take a phone call. Sam and Dean are as guilty of this as other people are guilty of doing this to Sam and Dean. Like, it is everybody. No one is learning. You'd think people who've been tied to a chair as often as Sam and Dean would know that that's a problem, but no.
That's not. It's like the dungeons on Merlin. They don't do their job.
Yeah, this is like one of those segments that's a lot like Sam's traumatic brain injury, where it was like literally just something I was making fun of on my own, and it just turned into a bit that I do.
We're gonna get stats on this now.
Yeah, and now it's like, okay, we gotta get stats. Is there anything else you want to say about season 3?
Hey, is there? I don't know. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean,
most of my analysis about the ending, and we already mentioned all that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about it. Season 3, I think I made it very clear all season that season 3 wasn't my favorite season, but honestly, I enjoyed it more than I expected. I enjoyed a lot of the episodes more than I expected. I think it's a great season if you're binging, if you have to keep stopping. I mean, this season dragged. We had our most difficulties with scheduling and recording and everything this season compared to our previous 2 seasons. It took us, despite this being so much shorter than the previous 2 seasons, it took us longer to record this season than it did to record either of those 2 seasons.
Oh, you're right. I had so much hope in my eyes, Meredith.
And it took me we had so many delays on not just recording, but also releasing episodes. Right now, I'm editing episode 308, so that's what's coming out tomorrow at the time of recording. And it was supposed to come out on December 26th, and today is March 26th. So it's
3 months.
3 months later than it was anticipated to be. Like, we've lost 3 months in this 10-year podcasting endeavor.
It's fine. We already knew we were going to be doing it for a while.
The 8-year schedule became 8.5 years over the course of this episode, or this season, I swear. But it's great. This season, something I really enjoyed was that we got to do so many crossover episodes with our fellow Supernatural podcasts.
That was fun. I finally got to meet some of these people.
Yeah. I reached out to a lot of podcasts to do episodes, and a lot of them volunteered to come back next season, so you'll be hearing lots of familiar voices next season, as well as some of our other guests that aren't Supernatural podcasts. We have lots of returning guests next season. We have a few new guests on the schedule already for next season, so that's all very exciting. But it was really great this season to talk with some of these podcast people. You know, a lot of people, I knew their podcasts, I knew their work, but I hadn't really gotten a chance to get to know them, and to have them on to talk about an episode was really great, and talk about episodes that they're doing and go on their shows and stuff has been really great. Honestly, we've made so many friends doing this. Yeah. We've met so many people. It's been really wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's been fun. It's been like really weird because I don't have a lot of experience with internet friends, but now I have a whole bunch.
Yeah, I mean, August just came to my apartment. August was in my apartment this morning, and like, that's crazy. They like came from across the country to hang out for the weekend.
Very cool.
Like, it was so surreal. It was so crazy.
Someone with physical form.
Yeah. An internet friend became my real life friend. It was wild. We hung out all weekend. I got them hooked on a new TV show. My work is done. Next month, it'll be long over by the time this episode comes out. Like, I'm going to New Jersey Con, and that's very exciting. I'm sure I'm going to meet a bunch of people there that I've only met online before. I know I'm going to meet Beth and Hannah from Raising Perdition, and probably a whole bunch of other people. And like, I'm honestly more excited about that than the convention itself. So I'm really like just so grateful that we're doing this and that people want to be our friends and hang out with us.
Yeah, that's very encouraging. I feel like a cool person.
Yeah, and I've been looking forward to season 4 for a while. Obviously, I'm a big Cass fan, and you know, we all know I like my Sam to be a little crazy, and season 4 gives us just that. It really is the best. It's really the best of all worlds for me as a Sam stan and a Destiel shipper. Season 4 is really where things get good for me.
I was so obsessed with Cass first met him.
I'm hoping you get to relive some of that energy.
Man, I hope so too.
I really hope that comes back in part for you.
Oh yes. I hope I'm not too jaded now, but like, I've always liked Cass, so.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting, I think, to go on this journey, and I'm not sad to be leaving season 3 behind, podcast-wise or watching-wise, but I really did enjoy it more than I expected to, all around, both podcast-wise and and even watching wise, I enjoyed it more than I expected. So yay, I'm glad we're here.
And if we had fun with this ending, imagine us when we get to the end of season 4.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole season ahead of us, and it's a good season to look forward to. So yeah. Also next season, like a little update for me personally. I'll be starting a new notes document next season.
Oh, good for you.
I have racked up 420 pages of notes over the last 3 seasons.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
The doc has started to lag upon opening. We've had a few times where I've like gone to check something back in the notes and not been able to get back to my place because my document has frozen. So I will be starting fresh next season with a new document. I don't know how the pages racked up because it's literally just like these episodes that we put out, like seasons 1 to 3, and some notes on John's journal, and that is it. Like that is what's in here. Any guest spot I've done on another podcast, like those notes aren't in this document. Like I've really just that's how much note taking is happening.
You just got so many supernatural opinions. One podcast can't hold them all.
At least not one Google Doc. What are the limitations of Google Doc? 3 seasons of Supernatural.
There we go. That's a pretty good way to measure it, honestly.
Honestly.
It might vary from show to show, but
I feel like the next 2 seasons are pretty intense seasons. I'll be really curious to see if like 4 and 5 like is comparable to like seasons 1 to 3 in terms of notes, because I have a feeling they kind of will be.
Yeah, if anything, they might increase.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be new. We're going to be kicking off next season with a discussion episode, because we're up for a discussion episode next, and we will be discussing season 2 of the Bridgewater podcast starring Misha Collins. The season just ended this weekend that we're recording, which is obviously a couple of months ago for the people who are listening to this.
So you'll have lots of time to catch up to us.
Yeah, you'll have caught up if you weren't already caught up, but we're still processing. I'm still processing.
I'm still listening to it, so.
Oh, Meredith, I'm so excited. You and Jeremy Bradshaw have a thing in common that I think you're going to be really excited about, and I'm so excited for you to be caught up. Also, I just think that this season is really going to be up your alley, so I'm very excited to hear what you have to say about it. If you're like vibing with the direction they've taken or not. Either way, it's like an area you're pretty knowledgeable on, so I'm excited for you.
Okay. I'm excited now.
But yeah, Meredith, where can the people find you while they're waiting for us to start watching season 4?
In the Bridgewater Triangle while I finish this podcast. And on that Shades of Deyanira on Tumblr, Instagram, and sometimes TikTok. And if you go there, you'll see lots of really cool drawings for the fantasy series I'm writing.
That is very great. I do recommend just checking out Meredith's artwork. It's very good. I feel like I just say great and move on to the next guest every week, but your art really is great.
Thank you.
And people should go check it out. Yeah, my stuff's all in the outro, so I will do is plug the Discord. Join the Discord if you want to have the chance to offer opinions going into season 4. Ask questions to incoming guests. I'll usually let everyone know who the guest is that we're recording with and what episode we're recording. And if you have questions for that guest or thoughts or something you really want to make sure that we cover and talk about in depth, if you let me know, I will set aside time when I'm doing my notes to do a little deep dive for you. So yeah, that link is in our Discord server, which is in our episode description and on all of our social media in our link tree. So come join us there to hang out and also to offer your supernatural opinions, even if you're not a guest on the podcast that week.
Yeah. Or who knows, maybe you could even be a guest.
Yeah. Also, if you are if you're in the Discord and a guest spot is open, for example, no one has signed up for an episode or a guest has to cancel and we can't reschedule with them, that is where I go to ask people who's free to do an episode. So if you haven't signed up and you want to sign up for an episode and there's none available, that is the place to go for that last minute sign up.
Oh yeah, it's very fun. We like meeting new people, so come to the Discord.
Yeah, come to the Discord. Tell us a fun fact about you, and share your favorite fanfics. I'm always looking for recommendations. If you want to talk about how great Sam is, I've always got my ears open for that. Really,
talk
all
about how
things.
great Sam's hair is.
Yes. I've been KJ, and this has been Supernatural Opinions. If you enjoyed our show, the best thing you can do is subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell a friend. Check out our link tree in the episode description for all of our social media and any other Supernatural-related projects we might be working on. Send us an email. Our address is supernaturalopinionspodcast@gmail.com, or reach out directly to KJ at @KJ on all platforms. Thank you to Joe Veretta for our theme song, and our logo was created by Faith Ebert of faithanddesigns.ca. The episode was recorded, edited, and produced by me, Ed and KJ. If you want to hear more from me, you can check out my other podcast, Series of Opinions. And last but not least, a huge thank you to all of our guests.
Don't think in this world I'm supernatural. What we need is a savior.